Connecting to server, and we're up. Nice. So, we're down. The two haven't arrived yet. Before we can safely continue, especially since one of them's the captain. But where did we get to last?
Let's see, we discovered what was causing the problem.
Yeah.
And I can't remember after that.
Okay, so the research facility on the edge of Federation space with the Cardassians. Angstrom Research Institute gave out a distress call, so you guys have flown there, and you ditched a load of Cardassians who were tailing you, if I recall. And you've since started investigating the research facility, but it's mostly gone down to emergency power, and now that you're in, you only came in via one shuttle because there was only room for one shuttle, not the runabouts, and when you got in, the main power and the main computer are both down. You did bring down pattern enhancers, so you've allocated kind of the area in the shuttle bay where you landed as like a safe zone. With a couple of, or was it a trio of pattern enhancers. But after learning what's lurking about this place, I think Commander Vibers decided that allowing people to beam up and down to this facility now is a bad idea. So you've at least got an emergency exit if you need it. Ho hum, ho hum. So, breaking topic for just a moment, since Jan has professed that he has used this 3D RPG VTT kind of thingamahoo, my view on these things has tended to be it's fine for the moment, but the ease of which one is able to create a map in something two-dimensional like Foundry here, and that's already something of a job in and of itself, having to trace all the walls and put all the lighting in, and if you've got tiles to do, animated tiles to do special effects with and sound effects and whatnot, that's quite a job, trust me. But doing a fully 3D landscaped environment must add a ton of more work on top of that.
Well, RPG, you get two different approaches to the 3D VTTs. The one that RPG Stories takes is, at the moment, the landscape is not sculptable. So you can put fixed hills and rocks and so on down. So you can use objects to scape a landscape.
So almost like when people have made their own terrain at home and they use minis and stuff. It's almost like you've transported that into the computer world. So okay, that's how they get over that hurdle. Fair enough.
Yeah, and then making rooms is very easy. You can select the style for the for the floor and the walls, and then you just draw squares, or you can make sort of round-ish rooms as well. So you just draw. It's a little bit like Dungeon Alchemist, where you draw the outline of the room and it'll create it, but it won't populate it. You have to populate it yourself.
Live long and prosper to you too, suitable substrate. Thanks for joining in. We have two peeps who are going to be a bit late, so we're not starting quite yet. We're just shooting the breeze on 3D virtual tabletops for the moment. I'm actually going to shift the display quickly to where you guys were last, rather than what we usually do, which is the Navis Bridge. But before I do the intro, I'm going to quickly show folks on the stream what I'm talking about. The map that we're currently using, I actually did in a program called Kronos Builder, and as I've stated previously, I'm actually pretty rubbish when it comes to design. You should have seen some of my attempts back in university at doing design. I made people blind just by looking at this hideous clash of colours I had created. But stuff I look for in map-making software is something that can populate it for me, and then I can just tidy it up afterwards. So, for instance, these rooms, this corridor was created entirely in Kronos Builder, and all I did was, in the instance of, if I can move Bertram into this room, this was, I think, some kind of machine shop. So all I did was drag out how many squares it was going to be, and it populated objects to do with machine shop in the place for me. And then I could just jig them around and put them where I may to make a little bit more sense, because naturally an AI program doesn't always have the best context for what should belong where. So you do have to clean it up a little bit, but that piece of software has helped me in this regard, since it pre-populates things, and then I can just export it as a two-dimensional image. So yeah. So I'm not against such stuff, it's just for the moment, building them can be a bit of a hassle. I mean, at least for me, I don't always enjoy the process of creating a map, because like I say, I have poor design skills, so the vision in my head isn't always what ends up coming out on screen, as it were, and I sometimes get a little frustrated with that. And likewise, you can search various battle map places on the internet and find things close to what you want, but not always exactly what you want. So hopefully, well, I should say I came pretty darned close with this using Kronos Builder. So it's something that you will see again. Maps built in Kronos Builder where I can. Anyway, that was my little plug for Kronos Builder. The future of 3D VTTs, of course, is also going to be entirely contingent on what Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro do when it comes to marketing and implementing their own 3D virtual tabletop, which I think is using... It does use Unity engine, doesn't it? Or am I making that up? I think it uses Unity. But, yeah.
So the interesting thing is the RPG Stories uses Unity, but there's another one also that I backed, which is busy still releasing sort of it's released the world builder, but doesn't have any multiplayer features yet, called Menace.
Oh,
and
yes,
they built they built an Unreal Engine, and they will sort of procedurally generate your landscape for you, and then you can sculpt your landscape. So the drawback of that one is that it's only fantasy at this stage.
Yeah.
Whereas RPG Stories is for any era. It's got fantasy, sci-fi, and contemporary or horror, I guess.
Fools. Make it that look after all. But, yes, the only reason I plug Kronos Builder and the fantasy version, which is Dungeon Alchemist, are because they use AI to randomly seed stuff, depending on what you pick. So that helps the design impaired, like myself. So, but yes, I remember you mentioning Men here, and that was always something I was going to look at once they start getting more and more assets that they can allow you to play with. Because things are certainly going in that direction.
I've got Dungeon Alchemist, and it's pretty good. I think it's pretty nice. It's quite good to populate the rooms and stuff. It's so easy.
Very much so. I was at one point looking to do Shadow of the Demon Lord, and tried mapping one of the introductory adventures, but then I read more of Shadow of the Demon Lord and realized how overall depressing it was as a theme, as a world. So thankfully they've got the less depressing version coming out sometime soon. So remind me, Ian, what's that called again?
Shadow of the Weird Wizard.
Shadow of the Weird Wizard. That was it. Keep forgetting that bit. So that'll be cool when it eventually does manifest. Right, we're 10 minutes in, and folks are just hearing us natter, so I'm going to throw us briefly over to the intro. After I stop the ship rumble. We'll be back in a few seconds to continue this story with, even though we're down up here, they should be with us hopefully within the next 20, so we'll see how we do. In the meantime, here's the intro video. Excellent. Thank you once again to Gareth for making that intro video, and thanks to Kevin MacLeod for giving us permission to use the music for it. So, yes, welcome back to the continuing adventures of the USS Navis and its crew. I am MJ the GM, your Games Master for this evening. And we are continuing with our foray into the mysterious and the creepy with the current episode, the Angstrom Operation, which has seen us land on a research facility overrun by crazy scientists, with the potential of there being, well, at least two had been able to meta guess the cause. Since this can very well be seen as a callback to a Star Trek episode.
Technically, every game is a callback to Star Trek.
Technically, you are correct, but in some cases a bit more blatant than others. Before we dive too far into things, I just want to remind folks once again that Humble Bundle have still got the Doctor Who Megabook Bundle up, and this goes to children in need, and it's got not only books, but also Big Finish audio plays, and of course Cubicle 7's Doctor Who Adventures in Time and Space role-playing game, and many of its supplements. So, yeah, get it. Most of us have already.
Yep.
Nevertheless, we are here on our Star Trek adventures. So, let's turn up the ambience a little bit. So, let's pause the game. You had just finished having a scuffle with a load of crazed scientists, either wielding their own fists, but mostly improvised weapons, to have a go at you all. And you're now picking up the pieces of what you of your encounter with them. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured. Nova has gone off and currently finds herself in one of the storage rooms. It looks like many of the supply crates have been rummaged through without care. So a lot of equipment have just been opened and thrown open, a lot of which seems to be in scientific instruments and basic supplies. But of particular note is a security crate that looks like it's been forced open.
Did it look like it once held like weapons?
Indeed. In fact, if you look, you will find that there is space in there for 8 hand phasers, type 1 hand phasers, but all but one of them have been taken.
I'm curious about the barricade.
The barricade
I'll
appears
calm
to
the
have
warning
been...
to the others.
Sorry, Sean, I talked over you there. What was that?
I'll come the warning to the others that there's some hand phases missing.
Okay. The barricade that Edwards is close to has been constructed, it seems for the most part, out of anything heavy that could be found and placed there. So drums, crates, boxes, even in some cases tables and chairs have been piled up. There are folks on one side of the barricade who all are very much dead, and there are dead bodies in the corridor on the other side of the barricade. The two bodies that on your side of the barricade that Vibers and Thazanan are closest to displayed wounds that you found on the dead ensign in the shuttle bay. Nova is currently moving about what looks like a platform, and there is a monorail. But it's, as can be plainly seen, the monorail looks like it's been damaged. Currently, parts of it are on fire, and the bits that are on fire are also displaying signs of being bent and warped out of shape and even cracked, as if some kind of explosion happened.
Okay.
So this current part of the monorail is very much disabled.
So, can someone help me try and move this barricade? From what we know, building a barricade doesn't seem to be something that someone that would have been infected would have done. So I'm curious to see what else is back here. If we're lucky, we might even be able to find a survivor.
With that in mind, Thazanan moves up, and you can start to definitely take some of the heavier objects off the top of the barricade, but it looks like for the most part the barricade itself is climbable. There are remnants of bits having been pulled off, so it seems like whoever constructed this barricade, the barricade didn't last.
It's more in case we need to move injured or, in this case, dead over it. If
Fair
it's
enough.
stuck like too high, it's going to impede us and make us harder. So it's basically get enough of it down to make it so we can actually move the bodies / injured / whatever over
Okay.
it.
Fair enough.
So
No problem.
once we do that, then we can nip over.
Nova, the door that you're trying to open is trying to open, but it seems like it's blocked from the other side. Nova was getting the sense that there's somebody with emotions in that room, however. But all that Nova can sense at the moment is pain and anxiety.
So not crazed like the others.
It's difficult to tell what their mental state is because overwhelmingly all they're feeling is pain. And in most humanoids, pain has a way of becoming the sole focus of a mind when it happens, especially in large quantities. So, if they have any kind of mental state or emotional state, it's eclipsed by the fact that they are just enduring agony at this point. It takes Thazanan... Sorry, Sean, what was that?
Can I start setting the phaser to try and cut through the lock?
Sure. Meanwhile, Thazanan and Edwards are slowly removing pieces of the barricade.
Especially once we've got to enough where we can actually start carrying things, people, whatever, over without being impeded, then Edwards will be like, that's enough, and we can start crossing over.
Matt, have we managed to make contact with the ship to update them on the situation?
I believe the last communication sent to the ship in regards to the situation was Commander Vibers sending a message to the Navis saying under no circumstances is anybody to transport up or down to this place.
Right, okay, yeah, that's good. What I'm thinking is seeing if we can actually communicate with them, and maybe if we can use pattern enhancers, if they can actually see if they can transport down some equipment to give off that light. I think Ore remembered that they were vulnerable to
Ultraviolet, yes.
Yep. Because otherwise,
Indeed.
it's going to
UV
be
light.
difficult. Yep, that's the one. It's going to be difficult otherwise to incapacitate the infected without doing irreparable harm to them.
The trouble is, Ori's remembering of the records.
Yeah.
I found missing phases and fire, and I think someone's in pain here. Yes, so Nova is updating Stevens on what's going on. When Ori consults, uses the comms to create a link to the ship in order to access the records regarding what happened on Denver, the amount of light required to kill these things was actually quite substantial.
It was to blind someone, wasn't it?
Yes, the one infected crew member who was subjected to this light was blinded by the sheer amount. Thankfully, he was a Vulcan and had parts of his anatomy that compensated for this. So
Okay.
that is because they got the calculations wrong, though.
Is that
So I
too?
remember
Thank you for clarifying, because they started sounding vaguely familiar. These kind of like weird jelly-like things, aren't they? That drop down. Okay, I'm not going mad. It's like, I know this reference.
Oh, you're going mad, but just not for those reasons.
So, Nova and Stevens, or Nova especially, is trying to blow the lock off of the door using her phaser, and certainly it doesn't take that long to do so. But once the lock is gone, the door still will not open due to it being
Wrong person.
very heavily barricaded on the other side. Edwards has managed to make it to a door.
And I see what I can see.
There appears to be... Let me actually describe this. Where are we? The mess hall. So, the room itself is in total disarray. Tables and benches are knocked over and tossed aside. And if you are going into that room there...
I'm not. I must stay in the doorway so I can see things. I'm waiting for a reaction.
So, an odd squelching noise can be heard coming from inside this room. And in the flickering light, you can see an Andorian writhing in the shadows.
Wait, is that the same squelching that I was able to isolate on the video? On the comms?
Maybe.
From before? Ooh, I don't think we want to go in there. Knowing what I know about these things, I can see a potential survivor, but I keep hearing a squelching noise. I'm not too sure if that was what I was able to isolate on the background, in the background sounds of the soundbite that I put through to everyone. But I'm a bit concerned knowing what we know about these things.
The Andorian in the room is whimpering and groaning in pain, it seems.
Especially if these things drop down.
Alright. I'll have to step in.
Basically looking up this, shining a light up. Never mind.
As soon as Thazanan steps in, a flat, irregular disc detaches itself from the Andorian's back and flees through a ventilation shaft. Just change this. Apparently
After
not.
it goes, is there still a squelching sound?
No.
Okay, I feel a bit more confident now.
And that's when the Andorian kind of unfurls himself from the ground, shakily gets up, looks up at Cavall, and just roars out in kind of anguish and pain and who knows what else, and vaults over the table he was using as cover and actually flies at Fazanan with his fists. So, You guys have the option of acting first, and Nova, on the other side of this door, you can now sense that the one who you sensed was in pain is now not in as much pain, but is in still enough lingering pain that he's lost all control of his senses, of his sensibilities, and has all of a sudden flown into kind of a despairing rage. There's a great confusion of emotions going on right now, but it seems that there's a scuffle going on now in this room. So, Fazanan can act first, since he definitely saw this coming, so what would you like to do?
Okay,
Just have the sound gun up.
Yeah, but it's set for humans.
Ah,
Well, I suppose I can do a fast action to
calibrate.
change it,
Yes, indeed.
and then shoot. That's what I'll do.
You can definitely try that, so absolutely, yes. Give it a go. Now, I hasten to remind folks that everybody has stated they are wearing EVA suits, so you are covered from head to foot.
Control and security.
Yes, indeed, yes. Should be difficulty 2, and I've just realised that as usual, my threat and momentum indicators are not there anymore. Let's sigh.
I can't remember, does the sound gun fall under hand phasers focus?
It does not. It's its own definite type of weapon, therefore does not fall under hand phasers. It does not use phase particle beams to... Alrighty then. Legion of Honor number 2. Okay. So you ignore the complication, but basically the Andorian, you imagine, scientist has raced at you. So Thazanan's response is to whip out the sound gun to try and incapacitate him. But before he can fire, the Andorian is upon him, and they're both wrestling over the sound gun for the moment. So that's what the scientist is now going to do. He's going to try and wrestle the sound gun from Caval's hands. He's going to do this with daring and security, which means that since this is hand-to-hand, Caval gets to roll daring and security also. I roll better.
Let it go. It's a prototype. Let it go.
No, it's not the prototype. It's
Guy, we've only got so many of these. Get off!
You can replicate more.
2 successes to 1 success. The scientist unfortunately manages to wrestle the sound gun away from Caval's hands. Edwards, you are closest to the scene. Do you want to take an action?
Pull out
2 actions.
Pull out phaser. Try to stun.
All right then. That's going to be a control and security check, difficulty 2. I am going to spend threat to up the difficulty to 3 because you're in a doorway, so that goes widely wide. Luckily, not so wide that you risk hitting your superior officer, but that was a wide shot and a miss, especially as the two are scuffling and moving around. It makes for a very difficult shot. And Caval, being in an EVA suit, does take up more space than he otherwise would, so yes.
Also, does it hit... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, hasn't Edwards shot somebody in the back before?
Yes,
No.
recently. Actually, no, that was Ori.
Yeah, I was going to say,
that was alright.
Thank you.
I do apologise. I was thinking of the other guy.
I was going to basically hit the comm badge and best go, and we have another hostile and sighting of one of the parasites.
Well, a recently affected or infected hostile, I guess. So that might be of interest to the doctor.
Edwards killed a Klingon with his phaser. Yeah.
I have not killed anyone, actually.
Right. Vibers and Bertram and Ori are closest of folks to what is going on here. So, does Bertram want to act next?
not entirely sure there's a huge amount Bertram can do.
And that should be our last wayward person.
Yes. You know who could probably act, who has all the context, is Vibers. Go on, Vibers. What are you going to do?
I need to contact the ship and get them to fire a warp core at it. What was the question?
Basically, an Andorian scientist has been found with something attached to his back, which conveniently flew off before anybody could get a shot or capture it. Which means that the previously afflicted scientist is now in a rage, had to go at Thazanan. Thazanan tried to use the sound gun to no effect. Edwards has tried to fire a phaser to stun the Andorian scientist, but unfortunately didn't manage to hit. So, Vibers, Bertram, Ori, Stevens, and Nova have still yet to go.
So,
And
can
at
he
the
be
moment, Thazanan is wrestling for control of the sonic gun with the crazed scientist, and has currently lost possession of it to said crazed scientist. So,
Not to the question, that probably depends on if we can actually get to the medical facility here and get proper power to it.
That sounds like a no to me. Okay.
so again, whom of you wants to go next? Vibers, Bertram, Ori, Nova, or Stevens? Stevens and Nova do have a lot further to go because they have to cross 1, 2, 3 different zones to get to where the crazed scientist is currently at. So,
I'll do Citador if not tried yet to.
okay, that's a good point. Yes. So, do you want to go next then, Sean?
No, nothing real.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to press either Bertram or Vibers to be next, and if you don't volunteer,
Okay,
I'll volunteer
go
for
on
you.
then. I'll volunteer. Where is the crazed scientist?
In this room down here.
Right. I think it's a very good idea to shift to there and
Yep, can actually more or less see just about
I
into the
should
room.
still have my phaser out from previously, so I'd like to
Yep.
shoot him in the head.
Alright, we're going to have this... Kaval Thazanan is suddenly feeling a little less certain about his positioning.
Are you going for stun or for kill?
He said stun.
It was still on stun, so
Alright,
that'll
this
do.
is going to be a control and security check, and it's going to be difficulty 2. You got 2 successes, you actually hit. Roll phaser damage. 7 successes, 2 effects. So, 7 successes means... 1, 2, 3, do it. So the
Don't know
stun
what
shot
you roll.
was not enough to incapacitate the scientist, possibly because his entire nervous system is at this point in time screaming in pain. Which means the stun isn't having as much effect as it normally would. Nevertheless, that was Vibers. Now we come to either Bertram, Stevens, Nova, Ori.
I'll come over there.
Yeah. And you see the situation as it presents itself.
Given that I'm not great with these, I don't want to risk blasting Kaval in the back. Only thing I can think of to do in this situation is see if I can directly shine my wrist torch directly in the guy's face. It won't be enough to actually properly affect him, but maybe it'll be enough to cause if there's like an actual parasite in there, kind of like it trigger a survival thing to flinch for a moment to give Kaval the chance to overpower him.
Okay, so you're essentially trying to create an advantage for Kaval.
Basically, yeah.
Which will cost you 2 momentum, but it will make
Is that
an
alright with
advantage.
guys, as we only have 2 momentum left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright, I'll try and do that.
Okay, so you essentially spend the 2 momentum, which I will take away, and you create a temporary advantage, which we will call temp blindness, by shining a light in his eyes, which will make it easier now to hit or strike, or indeed make it more difficult for the Andorian scientist to hit or strike you guys, which is just as well because he's currently got the sound gun in his hands. So, nicely done, Bertram. Nova and Stevens, whilst this is going on, what do you guys want to do? You did point out, Sean, that you can see a door that you hadn't tried yet.
I'll let Webby pick first, isn't it?
Sorry, still eating at the moment, so it looks like it's you then, Sean.
Alright. Let's head towards the door.
You did pass one door here, and there's another
After
door
I
here.
it led back into where Bertram was.
Yes. So you can move anywhere along this platform.
You've been messaged. Oh, sorry. Whether
Easily enough.
everyone's been messaged over comms.
Can we hear the commotion? I should think so. So, yes, Nova, there appear to be two doors on either end of the platform.
Okay, for now.
Okay, then. Steven. Or we could go for Ori. Do we want Ori to try something?
Yeah, you can shoot Caval in the back.
Let's, well, he shot someone else in the back earlier, so let's give him the attempt again, shall we? This time we're going to...
I was saying, if that happens, you should tell him just take your eye off the ball. Aim for Caval, not your target. You might hit them.
Right, the difficulty has been lowered down to 1 rather than 2. He doesn't have any determination. There's no momentum left, so let's see how he manages. 2 successes on the Moneymaker. It's a bit of a shame Mike's not here to triumph, enjoy his triumph. Let me see, that's 4 with 2 effects. So, the guy's hanging on there. The Ori's stun shot does rock him, but is still conscious. Which leaves Stevens. At the moment, Stevens is on the other side of a barred door. So this is 1, this is 2 zones that Stevens has now moved into, which, with no momentum remaining, is the furthest you can go, I'm afraid. So, back around, round 2, as it were. So, which of you guys wants to go first? Val Fazanan might be the best to...
I'll step in just to create some space at the door. And then I'll sweep the leg.
Alrighty.
Sweep the leg,
Daring
turn it into an
and
elbow drop.
security. So only 1 success for me, which means you automatically get 1 height. You get 1 success, but because of the advantage, you actually get 2. So you do actually get to roll unarmed damage. Which you do with 5 successes, which does knock the crazed Andorian scientist out. Doink, doink, doink.
So,
Here we are.
Doctor, there was a disc-shaped organism attached to the scientist moments before we entered the room.
I was a betting man. I'd say that was probably the means of entry that we've seen for the puncture wounds, where the alien material gets in and compromises their nervous system. But as I'm methodical, can you point me where it was on the back so I can see and scan for it, please, Caval?
Easily done. You just turn the guy over onto his front.
Yeah.
Given that the squelching noise is no longer present, I imagine that, well, I'll say fairly certainly that's going to be the sound these creatures make then.
Anybody who wants to examine the man, give me a reason and medicine task with difficulty of 1.
Reason and med.
Take
2.
the temp blindness away.
Also to note is the creature flew out through a vent, so we've got to watch the vents.
Joy.
You got 1 success more than you needed for that, so you do gain 1 back to your momentum pool.
Momentum.
Alright. So, even though this man is unconscious, the pain centers of his brain are very active.
He must be having some nasty fever dreams.
There appear to be foreign cells located all throughout his nervous system, especially clustered around the puncture wound in the back of his neck. There is a slimy residue there as well.
Do I have anything in my with my medkit and stuff like that? Do I reckon? Well, first of all, try and clean the wound to try and actually get rid of the biggest cluster. Then take scans to see how feasible it would be if, say, we could get to the med bay in this facility. If we could actually remove the alien material, if there's if we could do that, it might save his life, ease the pressure on him, and actually might help bring him back to sanity if he's not constantly under the effect of these things.
But of course, in order to ascertain that for definite, you're going to need a more advanced medical facility than you've currently got access to down here. So, either activating the power in the research station, or taking the risk and taking this back up to the ship.
Wouldn't take it back up to the ship because that is a biohazard risk. With main power down, is there any way to actually are there any backup power systems in like individual areas that we could use?
At the moment, the whole station is just running on battery power.
Right.
Then we use the runabout's power.
You can try and use some of the shuttle's power, yes, I suppose so. Certainly feasible.
Yep.
Meanwhile, hold on to that, Gareth, I just want to draw attention to something. Stevens was still making her way towards the commotion, and Nova had pretty much halted because there are 2 doors to choose from. But with Ori and Vibers up in the corridor just outside of the mess hall, it gives Vibers and Ori time to have a look at the victims, the dead bodies, basically here behind on the other side of the barricade. And actually, because you're so low on momentum, let's give this. Go play Mum and watch Nova. Fair enough. Because you guys are a bit low on momentum, let's give Ori and Vibers the chance to have a good old looky look. So I'm going to go for Insight and Medicine from both Vibers and Ori. Ori has Insight of 12, Medicine of 3, which is pretty darn good. Vibers has Insight 9, Medicine 1, so it's probably best if Vibers aids Ori, and Ori is the lead. Zero successes from Vibers. Let's try Ori. Ori has infectious diseases, actually, as a focus. Oh, Mike, if you're watching this later on YouTube, you're actually getting to use your infectious diseases focus. You didn't think you would, but you're gonna now.
Well,
and you're not here to do
Can you use quantum mechanics at the same time?
No, but I like the attitude.
Yeah, he's just going to create a disease that's to do with quantum entanglement just so he can.
Ooh!
Quantum disease. Oh dear.
Whoop-a-days. Okay. He doesn't have anything to counteract that unless you want him to spend one of his points of determination.
Or he's dead, Jim.
he's got 2 left, so if you think it would be a good idea to spend it. Okay. So we'll re-roll the 20. Using nothing is beyond repair. You are on comms, I'm assuming. I am assuming open comms unless somebody is telling me otherwise. So, Ori got 1 success. So, he notices that the bodies on Viper's and Ori's side of what was the barricade... Ah yes, the commanding officer may spend a point of determination if they can communicate and have a point of determination. So, ship's comms. So, yeah, if she doesn't get it back, unfortunately, but it does mean that Ori doesn't spend that. After all, because his captain did it for him. Remember to thank the captain later. Either way, what was I saying? So the bodies on one side of the barricade, you ascertained, had those strange puncture wounds on their backs, but the ones on this side of the barricade died from blunt force trauma, it looks like, although the specifics of which is difficult to tell because neither Ori nor Vipers are medical professionals. So I will leave you with that information. Nova looks like she opened the door and found the other door access to the storage room, which was where the missing rack of phasers was, or the rack of phasers was discovered that had phasers missing. So, with all this information that you now currently have, what would you like to do?
Bertram was... Oop, I think I've closed down my browser by accident.
Okay.
Bertram was going to ask, because I think it was Cavell who mentioned the shuttlecraft. Could we rig the lights to shine UV light in the shuttlecraft? Possibly as a kind of makeshift treatment thing, or if nothing else, to actually make it harder for the creatures to get on there and compromise it.
It's not a bad idea, methinks. What do the rest of you think?
I mean, happy to give it a go, but I prefer to be directed in this case, mainly because I really don't want to mess up our only safe way home, as we're currently not unable under orders not to use the transporters.
All right.
Give me a minute. I'll have some adjustments to do to our EVA suits.
Use the station shuttle. Alright, well, the shuttle bay is back where you came from, so...
Wait a minute, just thinking about it. Would we be able to use transporters as some kind of filter to either filter out, or if it lock onto the specific types of alien cells, or we extract notes of DNA when we're in transportation, and just leave those bits in the buffer? Or the equivalent, or the reverse.
Maybe if we had a transporter specialist here.
Either way, Ori,
Yeah.
Lieutenant Ori will remind you that when using the Navis's sensors to scan for life signs, the number fluctuated greatly.
Yeah.
Either because of radiation coming from the system's star messing things up, or maybe some quality of these alien parasites.
Right.
Now, if we did have a runabout, they do come with their own, don't they? No, I'm thinking of something too small.
We're in a shuttle. Yeah, we bought the shuttlecraft rather than a runabout.
Also, will a runabout have its own transporter, or am I thinking of too
A
small?
runabout does have its own transporter, as does a shuttle, if I remember, but they are low power compared to something the size of your starship.
Now, as though all of this sounds very important, we are sat beneath a shield that isn't
There's that too.
looking very healthy in a system that's not very good at the moment.
So you do have time running out as well.
We have time running out. I think our main concern should be get out of here with anything we need to rescue.
Bear in mind, anything that leaves this thing will risk potentially infecting anywhere we go, including the ship.
Okay,
This is a biohazard site. Hence why,
Okay.
if we... Yeah.
Oh, plants. Yes. Okay.
So,
Nova opens the door to what appears to be the hydroponics bay. The door to which Vibers tried moments ago and found it locked. However, there appear to be a trio of individuals within this room, and they all spin around as they hear the door open. Which means it's time to fight some crazies. Now, for the moment, just Stevens and Nova are going to be involved in this because it will take everybody else a little bit of time to realize that something is going on. But Nova opened the door, so Nova can actually go first if she wants to do something with it. So, Sean, what would Nova like to do? Close the door! Nope!
That wasn't me. I think that was what was it? Nope.
Sorry, wrong address!
Avon calling!
It was like, Avon, I see you already have one. Goodbye.
I've been trying to reach you about your shuttle's extended warranty.
alright, that one.
Yep, shutting the door, locking it, moving away is an entirely viable strategy if that's what you want to do. Nope, it's Lucha Libre combat time.
Nova,
It's
Nova,
the
Nova,
Nova
Nova!
bomb.
It's the supernova!
That's it now. I'm going to have to reinstall AEW Fight Forever and create Area Nova as a character.
You're
3
gonna end up having to do
successes.
half the characters and NPCs, aren't you?
You know what? I will. I don't know how the heck I'm going to represent Natik since they don't have an insectile individual. I'm going to have to see if I can unlock an insect mask or something. I don't even know if they've got one.
You're gamifying the Natik attack. Ooh.
Don't worry, the Bravo should be easy enough. You only have to do it once for 5 of them.
Okay, Nova, with the advantage of surprise, surprise, manages to get 3 successes over the crazed scientist 0, which means you can either get 3 momentum and bank them into the momentum pool, or you can use 1 or more of them to add extra damage to your unarmed attack. What would you like to do?
I'll go for 1 momentum, 2 extra damage.
Righty-ho. So for the 2 extra dice, if you remember, you can use the Perform Challenge red button to define 2 dice extra. That wasn't bad. That was 4 with 3 successes, and an extra 2 makes for 6. So that is a very impressive flying, spinning head scissors that she just did. And with 3 effects, you can basically use a knockdown, so you sent the guy flying. Nearly managed to hit the hydrangeas, but thankfully didn't quite.
They're definitely trying to avoid those, otherwise Bertram would be giving me a lecture.
My plant senses are tingling. As a million seedlings screamed out, it was suddenly silenced.
I did just say, ooh, plants down the radio.
You did, actually. That should have perked up his plant senses.
So
Okay.
basically what Bertram's hearing is, ooh, plants!
And just his ripping sounds.
He's like, oh my god, she's found plants and she's
She's
destroying
fighting them. How dare she? I must get there and rescue them immediately.
Right, once again, Nova needs to make a daring and security task as this other crazed scientist comes in wielding, I don't know, an empty plant pot. You get 1 to his 2, so he gets to add 1 to an unarmed strike. for a grand total of 3 successes. So Nova takes 3 stress. The moment you're good because you're wearing an EV suit. Actually, that's a good point. The EV suit does offer resistance, does it not? It does. Actually, regain 1 of those.
Alright.
Because you have armor. Stevens is next up to be activated. Excuse me. What would you like Stevens to do, Evie? Drop the plant pot? Is that what you... Yes. I'm from security, sir, and I order you to drop the plant pot.
The garden centre is closed.
If you are using a ranged weapon, then it's going to be a control and security check. Difficulty of 2. You get a 1, which means it misses. So, the good news is the plant pot probably took the shot. The bad news is the plant pot took the shot. You can hear Bertram wailing down the corridor.
I didn't know a plant pot could hold a phaser.
Another crazed scientist comes running in, wielding a pipe. He is going to make a daring and security attack as well. He gets 2 successes. Sean, let's try this once again. You get 1 success, so I get 1 over, so it's the same thing, but this time we use a bludgeon. And 1 extra to see what we get for this. So that was 5. So you actually take 4 and knock down. So, do you want me to do that? Have you got that? Gallantry! So, once per mission, when you suffer damage, halve it. There we go. So, you would have suffered 4, you can suffer 2. Cool! So, luckily, the pipe shot doesn't crack your EVA suit's visor, but you definitely hear something rattling now. And last is the scientist who got knocked on his butt with the Nova Conrana, or the flying Nova head scissors. So he uses an action to get up and another action to get within range, which means that's all he can do. So now we add other folks to the mix. Vibers was closest, and by this point, other folks have heard the commotion too.
Bertram's already got that vision in his head of what's happening.
So, round 2, as it were. Who wants to go first of you lot? I mean, Sean, you're in the most peril.
I like peril.
You like peril. I mean...
Nova's middle name.
No, that's Beryl.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, it's Nova Beryl. Sorry, Ariane Beryl Nova.
Eri Berry Nova.
You know what she needs to do? You can't see me!
And her name is Ariane Nova. Do, 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 do.
Well, if she wants to do the FU or whatever, she's going to need to get to her feet first. Otherwise, she's going to need to do a fireman's carry from the floor, as it were. So, what's the plan here then, Sean?
Yeah, I suppose get back up and hit the one I've already hit.
Yeah, just
Cool.
just do it as you're jumping up, just so we're like
Yeah.
Kip up.
Pop up and just go for the chin.
Chin him as you're getting it.
She's gonna hit the NKO out of nowhere.
Which one do you want to go for? Top, middle, or bottom?
Bottom, the one I've already hit.
Alrighty, so this is going to be a daring and security exchange. I get none, so this guy's bell has been very severely rung, and you get 1, so you win the exchange. Do you want, pardon me, to add that one to the momentum pool or add it to damage?
I think I need the damage.
Alrighty.
It's not plus.
So that's not bad. That's 4 plus an extra 1 is 5 with 2 effects. So he's not out yet, but he's close.
Guess I'll knock him over as well.
Knock him
If you
back
drop him out, I was
down.
gonna go, Ultra, Ultra, Ultra.
So blocking the incoming attack, you punt him back with a nice big pub kick to the gut. Which I forgot to activate Nova. That's all Nova can do. It's one of them next, unless you guys are spending momentum to retain the initiative.
Nah, Nova's done
Si-
this.
Yeah. Which means top scientist is now going to go. He's a toppest scientist. He's going to do the same. So once again, Sean, same roll as before. This frenzied exchange of limbs. No score draw. Okay, nobody comes off the better. So who is going next out of you lot? Is Stevens going next, or is somebody else going to try running to the rescue?
I think Stevens and then someone else, because everyone else.
It makes sense if Steven's actually down there.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone else
Cool.
is going to have to spend a double movement to get into range and can't do anything.
Unless Stevens does a really good shot here and buys you some extra momentum. So let's see.
Alright, I am going to spend that.
Check the status of the ship. So that's her spending her 1 determination point. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
3 successes. So. Naturally, that's 1 success over and above what you wanted. Do you want to add it to... do you want to add that to damage
Add it to
or pool
damage.
it? Add it to damage. And roll 1 extra. To see what else we get. Woohoo! So 4 in total. Not bad.
4 in total, 3 effects.
3 effects, but because you didn't actually change the setting on your phaser with your quick action.
Can I retrospectively do that then?
Sure.
Are you
What was it going to be?
Say no. I don't know. Charge. It's only a hand phase though, so it doesn't get it.
So charge allows you to choose to either do piercing to get through armor, to do vicious to do extra damage, or to do area so you hit more than 1 target.
Yeah, vicious.
Vicious, so you actually do 1, 2, 3 extra damage.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, there we go. So does more. A bit more punch to that one as Stevens upped the power setting a little bit, and there we are.
Nice.
Alright then, so it's one of them goes next, so the one that didn't get shot. This is the guy wielding the pipe, so he's going to try again on Nova. I got a 20, and no successes
hits the dude.
whatsoever.
Hits
Hits
the dude
himself.
Next to him, complication.
So I will make that you get 3 successes rather than 2, so once again you can bank some or pile some into damage, whatever you want to do.
I'll bank the bonus one then and do 2 on damage.
Okay. Excuse me. Nice, lots of effects there. And some extras, so 7 with 4 effects, that's not bad at all. And this guy gets propelled backwards as you use the swing of his own pipe. As he swings his pipe, you just catch his hand and throw him.
I'm just seeing this guy now. It's like he's smoking pipe. It's like being
He's been
yeeted by
hitting someone
Nova.
with a smoking pipe.
Remember, smoking's bad for you. It can cause blunt force trauma.
Just sat there like, doably. Boom!
And remember, if you're smoking, stop, drop, and roll.
Right, who wants to go next? I mean, Vibers is the closest, technically. But it's going to cost you one fast action to get into this zone here. You can spend another point of momentum to get then into this zone, where next to Stevens, where you can then use your slow action to let off a phaser shot.
Before Stevens took over, who was on Nova Watch previously?
You.
Technically, Thazanan, and if you want to get really specific, Vibers, yes.
I better start moving. Right, how far can I get in one move?
I'm afraid the hat of blame is very much sat very much on your shoulders.
That's the thing about first officer. You get the blame when the captain's not around.
Yep.
So that's all you can do with your free action as is. So you have the option of buying another free action with momentum to get to somewhere around here, or rather than your slow action, you can just move again to position yourself ready for next turn.
I will move again to position myself ready for next turn.
Okay. Which
What
means...
did you do, and what have I missed?
Which means, once again, this guy picks himself up and uses an action to move in, but he can't do anything more. But these guys are pretty much insensate. They've only got one thing on their minds, and that is to basically hurt you. So,
everybody hurts.
Bertram, Thazanan, Ori, Edwards are all... I forgot to activate Vibers. Are all over there. I mean, Bertram, Edwards, and Thazanan are going to get as far as this area in 2 moves, whereas Ori can get next to Vipers in 2 moves. So I'll move Ori at the very least. Because Ori's starting to feel lucky with his phaser shots.
Do you feel lucky? It's good. I'm a lover and a fighter.
The anti-grav sled.
The anti-grav sled.
Who's got the anti-grav sled? You could have it, all 3 of these guys in the back actually move an extra area. Who has got the anti-grav sled?
Vibers.
Vibers.
Vibers has just been trundling it behind him all along.
No, I've been standing on it. I've been surfing on it. Got off the shore.
He's basically skateboarding on it.
Hoverboarding.
Thank you. So, yeah, Vibers, Bertram, Edwards.
Running.
1, 2. You basically gotta get hoof it over to here is the furthest you can get, unless you want to buy extra move with momentum.
No, will you say what? Here, did you say?
I'll highlight it
So
now.
that right now. Yep.
Okay.
Excuse me. Now, admittedly, going to have to navigate around walls. Would it be faster if I just pulled you both over?
Yep, go for it.
Whee!
I can see through wall. Oh my god, I'm no clipped. This is the second worst version of the backrooms I've ever seen. Where's the yellow foul smelling floor?
Maybe I'll do that for next Halloween. The back rooms.
Bertram. Back rooms.
That's the holodeck.
Yeah, it'll be another. It will be another holodeck
I mean,
malfunction.
that being said, that is actually something I'm tempted to try, because you have the free, like, 4-player survivor kind of game on Steam at the moment for it.
And I did actually go and buy the role-playing game of it.
Ooh.
I have not read it yet. But yeah, I've got that as well.
The list of role-playing games we could be playing
are astronomical. Jan knows how I feel.
Oh yeah.
Many books, too many books.
So, back around, round 3. Nova!
Ding,
You got him on the ropes.
Guess who's back, Bishop?
I'll carry on hitting this one at the bottom, I think.
Okay.
It's a real slobber knocker in here tonight, JR.
You could feel the intensity in the air.
It's Nova with a steel chair.
With that roll, I don't think she needs the steel chair.
She is the steel chair.
I am the weapon.
Pile driver.
There we are. 3 successes over and above, so you can bank some and channel some into damage if you wish, because the guy's only got 1 stress left.
Might as well chuck them all into momentum.
All into the momentum pool. Okay, so standard damage
No,
off you
Momentum
go.
shifted in this match.
No, on damage. You just do it pure on damage. Like, you're not getting up now, bitch. This is what happens when you mess with Nova.
So, as per usual, defeated, not dead. Blunt force
You
trauma.
smell what the Nova's
Knocked
cooking.
him out. Okay.
Now, you still have a quick action remaining. You can exit this room if you wish to join up with your buds. Or you can stay where you are, or move somewhere else in the room.
Can't see me movement.
I think it's need to play.
Yeah, I definitely think Nova is definitely doing. You can't see me. I'd love it now if sort of like gets to this round and you just see a sort of like Caval just comes in and just RKOs. Sort of like
Takes out the other 2 in one move.
Well, now that you've got a full momentum pool, that's not outside the realms of possibility. So,
Go on,
Nova is staying
Go on,
put,
Jan.
yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, spend the momentum.
So,
Go on.
first person that goes is Crazed Scientist. On Nova, as before. This guy is not armed with a pipe, so it's the hand-to-hand stuff, as before. Oh, and I rolled a complication and a 1, so I got both ends of the spectrum. So, because of my complication, I'm going to give you 1 success so that Nova wins that exchange with 1 extra. So, again, you've got a full momentum pool now, you may as well put it into damage.
Alrighty.
Ooh. Ooh, that was a bad one.
Yep.
That was
Why
all
do
of
you
2.
roll those?
You have the
No,
capacity
it's just-
of spending a momentum, I think, to reroll damage.
Nova's just cheering too much now.
She's just showing.
Yeah, she's showboating it. But that's why she.
Just faked a punch to his face so he raised his guard, then stamped on his toe.
Or she's doing like Ali, where sort of like you just sparbot, where he's just dancing around him, gloves down, and like I'm better than you.
Does Caval Fazanan now want to come in with a spear or an RKO or whatever they were talking about moments ago? Or does somebody else want to go?
No, the choke slam is a static move. You can't.
Yeah, sadly, it's one of those moves you can't easily do unless you do one of those duck behinds and...
Yeah, it's got to be a movement. So it's like the RKO is like the full out of nowhere grab and.
It's
bomb.
not an Ushigoroshi, it's what's the one where you get under someone's arm and then just lift them up and slam them down? It's not, because Yukemi is the breakfall, and I forget the name of the move. That's alright, never mind. Some of us are wrestling fans here, as you can tell.
Nah.
No, since when?
So, who of you lot is going next? If nobody calls...
Go on, Caval. Go on.
Alright, I'll go.
Yeah. Spend the momentum as well. Go for it.
Peer pressure! Now, making it in 2 moves is going to require the expenditure of momentum unless he uses a phaser.
No, I'll spend the momentum.
Yeah. Peer pressure wins.
He's got a reputation by this point to uphold, does Thazanan, so...
Peer pressure's bad, kids.
Peer pressure for the win.
Promoting peer pressure for good reasons.
Alright, so I believe I'm going to spear the one guy.
Well, one guy's on the floor, so the guy that's up able to be speared is the one...
Yeah, let's do that. Well, attempt anyway.
Spear the guy on the ground.
People's elbow.
Alright, daring security.
Daring and security. If you've got hand-to-hand combat or something in that regard as a focus, you can use that too.
I do not, but I think
Oh.
I'll use a determination.
My 3rd complication in very little
The guy
time.
just punches himself in the face.
I shall use keep only the best traditions, which is our fighting style on the on the Navis.
Catch his fist and hit him with it.
Stop hitting yourself! Stop hitting yourself! Oh no!
Which,
break his
incidentally,
arm as you're going round.
I have done accidentally in a sparring session at Kung Fu. 4 successes!
He just went in and just went, "What you gonna do, brother, when Cabal Fasna runs wild on you?"
So you can
God,
earn
did
1
the
back
Hogan
into
leg
the
drop.
momentum pool, and you can add 4 to damage.
The Fazan
never
hand leg
seen-
drop.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone do an Atika attack and a Bravo bomb in the same
Same
punch.
It's a continuous pure motion as well.
So
It's like King Tiger from Tekken, who does the multiple German suplexes.
Honestly,
So how much-
with that many successes, I think at this point it's a Tiger Driver 91.
I think you gained 3 extra dice there for damage.
3 extra. There we go.
So, Lordy Lorks, that was 1, 2, 3, 4 extra successes for 8 in total. The guy is well and truly out. Hit Kaval Fazanan out of nowhere with a spear! Down and done. So, yes, Nova goes, my hero! After she's been wailing on these 3 guys for the past couple of seconds.
I've killed them all.
Such a kill steal.
Hey, she's not
Speaking
gonna let you know
of,
that.
this guy gets up.
Jealousy is real.
Yeah.
Now has a choice of 2, so it's going to go upper 2 is going to be it. So sees the new guy.
Goes does.
It's
Just
just
an
like-
easier target.
It's just like I ain't touching her. I ain't touching her. She's psycho.
See what happened? He took a wisdom check and crit failed.
They're crazed scientists. They don't have a wisdom score for many reasons. One of which this being Star Trek Adventures. Star Trek
Chris
Adventures.
just goes, "I could take you, Andorian." Then he pauses. What the foolish little scientist didn't realise was no, he could not take him.
Right, who of you guys wants to go next? Vipers hasn't gone, Stevens hasn't gone, Ori hasn't gone. For those who are closest. Who wants to do what? I mean, it's entirely possible for Ori and Stevens and Vipers to all collaborate and do a one big assisted phaser shot.
Cross the streams.
Sounds like a good plan.
I mean, whoa, when did Vipers get 5 in security?
Vibers went
Vibers
and
is-
spent a lot of his milestones when he got promoted to first officer and had.
Vipers has been spending time on the phaser range. I think Vipers is the one that needs to go next and maybe get assisted by Stevens and Ori, or just Ori. What do we think?
Sounds
I
good.
resent that. I want to fight.
Oh, go on then, you can lead. I'll assist.
Go on then.
No, you're the first officer. No, I will follow your lead, sir.
Delegate.
I was elected to lead, not to read.
Well,
I was
here's...
elected. When did that?
It's combat situation. It's I was delegated to lead, not bleed.
You had the choice of who stepped forwards first. Gaval stepped back.
I think that's how it worked. Yeah.
So,
roll
Ori
your-
gives you
roll your
2
assist,
successes
Simon.
to add to whoever's leading the phaser shot. So, if
I don't
Stevens is
think I
assisting next, then Stevens rolls 1 dice. Unless it's Vipers that's assisting next. Oh, okay.
Can I use composure as a focus?
Not phaser fire, no!
Come on, he's calm and controlled in the situation. He just casually pulls out the phaser.
Oh, okay,
Determination
all right.
on steady.
If you want to justify it that way, then yes, remaining composed and calm in order to try and ensure a focused phaser shot. Yeah, okay. I can buy that. 3, 4, 5, 6 in total. 4 over what you needed. I assume you want to add all 4 to damage?
Yep. Who's got the best phaser?
You.
Ah. And... That...
4 extra dice to that, so if you go to
4
perform
extra.
challenge, number of dice 4. On your character sheet, I mean. Go to your character sheet, use the perform challenge button, you get to roll 4 extra dice, of which you got 5 successes onto 10 in total. The guy is floored by this combined phaser shot.
So, who left their phaser on kill? It wasn't me.
Honest gov. Alright,
I
well
was just
done.
totally surprised that there were 3 phaser shots past his head and none of them hit him.
Stop ducking!
Alright, so end of that combat. Nova didn't get her stress track depleted very far, therefore all stress gets recovered at the end of that. Which means that Bertram and Edwards eventually catch up.
And Nova, did you find a power room?
I've been looking, but I found the plants instead.
As nice as it is to hear about the plants, we were talking to Vipers, we were just discussing about the UV plan with the shuttlecraft.
Yes, you were.
Do
So
we want
what's
to
the
do
plan
that now?
I think it might be an idea to keep things powered down because we only have one way of going down this monorail track, and if it's electrified, we don't. Because
The shuttlecraft has its own power source, it's nothing to do with the monorail.
I thought we were talking about powering. Oh, sorry, my mind went.
No,
I thought we were still talking about
we're still
powering
looking
the.
for, we're still looking to find the power for the facility.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know why I was thinking you're going to use the shuttle to try and power it temporarily.
That's fine, it's just a misassumption, that's all.
No, I'm worried. But
Okay.
either way, we've got to walk along the tracks because those
Doctor.
phasers went somewhere.
Doctor, do you think do you think your medical staff could keep the scientists in a quarantine or not?
Problem is, this seems to be difficult. Depends if the radiation is what was causing the sensor issues, possibly. But if it's a natural thing for these creatures, there is a great risk of them being able to slip out before we realise what's happening.
Right. In your medical opinion, are any of the staff we've encountered currently, could they be saved and returned to normal?
Potentially, if they can be treated. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get the put the alternator lights in the shuttlecraft. If the UV light does repress or destroy them, it may be the best way to treat them.
Okay.
It
Let's
seems like you
give
have a direction.
Jude a call. That'll get you some lights down.
So say that again.
Right, we've got a limited amount of time here.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of hours.
That's relatively limited. We could do with getting the lights up there so we can start having a sterile place. We could do with getting all the bodies over there, over to the shuttle ready to go.
If only we had an anti-grav sled to help us with that.
Yes, we've got one of those.
Yeah.
And we need to get to the computer core and the power for this. So
Now.
I'm going to say the phrase that every leader hates to say. We should probably split up.
Ori is going to bring up a point here that he referenced last time, if you remember, that the Enterprise intercepted these creatures. The only reason they knew about these creatures were that they were tracking kind of like a migration of a plague of madness across systems. And it was only through following that pattern that they located Denver and found the cause of the problem. One thing they found was that, well, one thing suggests itself. As far as you know, or as far as is known, according to records, these parasitic creatures aren't able to move through space on their own. Therefore, that suggests, and it was suggested by a survivor that unfortunately didn't actually pull through in the end. When the Enterprise found a couple of survivors, one of them suggested that the infection started from somebody who came from off-world and brought the parasite with them, which suggests that the parasite made the people bring them here, or at the very least that hosts of the parasites can act under the parasite's influence. So Ori is bringing this up because you are suggesting putting infected people next to a working shuttlecraft. Now, albeit you're going to try and modify the shuttlecraft to bombard them with UV lights, but Ori suggests possibly contingency plans to make sure they can't nick the shuttlecraft.
Is this room set up for high UV light with it having plants?
That's a good point. At the moment, it's the lights are all out, of course.
Yeah, but we
but
could repower just to those lighting units. And...
Yeah, the lighting units in here are probably meant to simulate sunlight or, light from a star, which would include various bands of light waves, including UV.
I'll say, if the lights are damaged, can't we just ask if the ship could just replicate some and
The
just
lights aren't
speed it down?
damaged.
It's
there's no
power. It's the power.
Yeah,
It's
It
the
is just
issue.
power. So we just need a
Which was
portable
why
battery.
I
I
could
was saying,
jury-rig some power from the ship to... Yeah.
Or we just see if Richard can just beam us some UV lights down, please.
Well, that's what I suggested earlier, but I think it was brought up the portable stuff that probably wouldn't be enough.
Yeah,
It was
small portable items wouldn't have the juice, the amount of radiation output.
Yeah.
Now, a room like this that Nova and Thazanan are currently standing in, if you jury-rigged it, because there are lots of lights in here, if you get power to this room and get it working, then you would have to do some serious work to it, which again would take some time to do. So you would potentially be leaving somebody back here to do work on this kind of thing.
Not Vibers. Bertram will volunteer for that, because obviously at this point his primary goals are now stop the infection, get into Navis, and also try and save the lives of the people here.
Bertram and Vibers staying back to rig this up to try and do that probably makes sense, because you're gonna need the rest of you to get the power back up.
Yeah.
Now, I hasten to note also that Nova discovered another door to another part of the facility here on the night side, which was way up yonder. So there is more to this side of the facility than just what you've currently seen here.
Yeah, if they're splitting and they're in comms with the Navis, we'd recommend sending in some additional and because they've had quite a few crazies encountered, I probably would recommend that we send in Security Bravo and Claude. So there's an addition and sort of like additional 2 of security people for both teams. So we can bring Natik over.
That's not a bad call.
Okay, so we want your security chief, your tactical officer, and security lieutenant Natik.
Yeah, so then we will keep, I don't know, Natik and Bravo, or Natik and Claude with Vibers and Bertram.
while they're working on modifying the lights in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And then we've got Faznan and another security officer in the other group. Plus, they gain experience for being on the mission.
Which means that that makes Caval senior officer of the other team.
I was elected to lead, not to read.
So the hat of blame is now firmly on Caval's head.
No, technically it's not. It's still under Vivers because Vivers has delegated it down. But he's still the head officer of the actual main mission.
Yep. Leading officer on site, but I'm delegating it. Off you go.
So, Gareth
If you choose to
and
accept it, get
Davis,
Yep.
basically your characters are going to be here making modifications for the foreseeable future.
Mhm.
As long as you're
And
all
getting
right
all
with
the
that.
bodies into one room.
I'm good
yeah.
with that.
Unless, of course, because at the moment,
well,
yeah, I was going to say, at the moment, Mike is not here, so one of you could pilot Ori. I'm all right with bringing down another supporting character as well to give you somebody that you can play.
Yeah, we have for the other team. Because I say, if we keep, we pick. You've either got Bravo, Claw, or Natique. One of those three goes with this party.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. Let's leave. Ori should be able to help get the UV stuff set up, and it'll be more useful with getting that sorted. Does that mean if we bring in one more, we bring down another, you bring down your nurse as well, then we've still got one party and Matt hasn't got to try and juggle two lots of people.
Essentially.
That's your orders, Commander.
I think you might be helpful over there, especially if we encounter a mature one of these things, or we find a nest or whatever they're called.
So Nurse Bravo comes down.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not Jenny, I see.
I was gonna say that was like
Jenny's not allowed out.
he's giving them a break. He's causing
Jenny
trouble.
Eric is technically linked to the science department, so she's one of Ori's subordinates, technically.
She's still not allowed out, though, is she?
Well, quite. So if I'm to take from this, we're leaving basically Ori here, and we're leaving Nurse Bravo instead of Bertram to be doing stuff to do with the Arboretum here.
Yep. Okay.
All right then.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Cool. So they're setting up UV, trying to sort out some sort of safe thing here, and getting all of the bodies into one place.
I mean, I'm happy to trade round, so we've got an engineer staying there as well.
Go on, grab
So
a
take the-
security first.
Well,
I was gonna say,
Hello. Claude ready. Claude, bring the big gun.
Yeah, Stevens has been given a leadership job.
No, alright, senior. Well, actually,
That's
between
good.
them, yeah. No, Bravo is. Bravo's lieutenant commander.
Correct.
Captain's sister doesn't outrank lieutenant commander.
Yet.
depends on how far nepotism swings.
Indeed. Okay,
Yeah,
so we've got a fairly good selection of folks, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this other team. Cool. Now, as you can see from the monorail, like I already noted, it's been damaged. There is another part to the monorail system. You're just going to have to find a different station is all. But, like I noted, there is further more of this facility left unexplored if you want to continue here on the night side. If I recall, operations is on this side. Let me find again. Majority of the structure is on the night side. So housing, recreation, and the operations center, which includes engineering, is on the night side.
So that would suggest this side then. Is
Yes.
Where is it? Where's the door that looks not that couldn't open?
All the way up here, but I can move us to the next place, irrespective of having to move you guys all the way over there, so that's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Alright then.
So many walking.
So let me find the right map, and let me bring you in. So let's see, you guys are going to be coming in via that side. Okay, so let's...
From a space
cool.
side, what's happening with the star? Is it holding in its current kind of like degrade period?
Anybody who's coming in from the Navis will tell you that the temperature of the star is still getting hotter. So you've still got a limited amount of time remaining before the thing goes to be a problem. Well, it's already a problem,
Give us
but...
as much notice as you can, Captain.
Okay.
20 seconds, good enough? Yeah.
At least 10 minutes would be good. Half an hour better.
Right, so where were we up
30
to?
seconds, cool, got it.
Alright,
Who
a
brought
short
the
walk,
emergency beacon?
and you find yourselves in the area labelled Medical Bay. The Medical Bay itself is labelled to the area just to your immediate south.
Claude not told had to walk. Claude sad.
So there are still doors and rooms on either side. So, you are free to act. This looks... Nova opens this door and looks to be what looks like a machine shop of sorts.
I'm waiting for backup before I open this door.
I think Claude should watch Nova, maybe.
Somebody needs to be on Overwatch. Gotcha. Huh. I just got it. Overwatch, Novawatch. And she's gone. Pyong!
Oh, Claude's not even just close, just like...
It's like-
can't escape Claude.
She's got zoomies.
You can run, but you can't hide from Claude.
He's just like a horror villain, just like casually
Yeah.
stalling and still.
Yeah, no matter how fast Nova runs, he always keeps up with her. There's just this ominous da-dun, da-dun.
Jason, he's just Jason
So he's the
Voorhees,
Jason
but-
Not
Voorhees,
Jason,
Michael Myers
He's
of
not
the
Jason,
thing.
he's Michael Myers.
Depends
Michael
which
Myers.
version of Michael Myers, mind you, but there we are.
The original. We don't talk about any of the movies that happened in the later sort of like 2000s.
Yes, quite.
Or any movie that happened after Halloween 2. Even 4's okay. It's really weird. It's something like Star Wars. You know, they did 4, 5, 6, and Rogue One. Like Halloween's the same. 1, 2, 4. And they're like,
I could go
How
on
did you
about
get
the recent Halloween films, but I'm not going to. Anyway,
we don't talk-
Nova and Claude... Well, Nova opens the door and finds what looks like a laboratory. Looks like mostly to do with medical science.
Is this like the
Ah,
Star Trek
fab.
films?
Medicals.
Here's what everybody hears. Hi, Les.
Yeah, Edwards just go, ah, fab.
Not very good at the double lottery.
Ah, poo.
It's alright. Edwards is armed with a sonic weapon. He'll be fine.
Well, no, Cavall behind me is technically, but
Yes, he's got it back now.
Mr. Rockefeller looks down and is like, oh, I didn't pick it up. Did you pick it
the unconscious guy still got his hands on it.
up? just on the floor.
His
like,
cold, unconscious hands.
Why do you think
Alrighty.
they use the spear?
Just left it.
All right, here we go again. How you doing, Liz? These guys are engaging in combat, so let's see how they do. I mean, Edwards opened the door, but Cavall Paznan's right behind him, so either of those guys could go first.
I'm happy to go first.
All right, we begin
Sure.
combat. And Edwards, alrighty. So you get your usual... Close the door. Okay. Nope.
And like, ready, close door, pull out phaser, keep it trained on door.
Alright, fine, which means one of them goes next.
Opens door, rushes out, attacks me.
Opens door, can't do anything more than that. Next one of you. We don't roll 3 L20s in a single. Well, there are flame wars going on chat at the moment. I love it.
I'd say maybe if you take a sidestep, you might be able to have it chain into the rest in the room.
So does Thazanan want to go next, or somebody else?
Sure, I'll go next.
Whoop. All right.
I think I'm just going to shoot first.
Do you want to use your quick action then to change setting?
Yes.
Oh, you're using your phaser, did you say?
No, I'll use the sound gun.
Aha!
Already set.
It was set for Andorian the last time.
It was, yes. So it's going to have to be set for humans again.
If it's alright, I'll steal a point of momentum to aim as well.
Okay, cool. Everybody else all right with that?
Yep.
Groovy. Steal a point of momentum. Use a point of momentum. That's probably better. You're not stealing it, technically.
Alright, let's roll. Oh, I don't need to reroll anything for aiming.
No, that's pretty good actually. So, now using the sound gun, weren't you?
Yes.
Oh wait, so yes. Okay, so let me see, what do we get? 7 successes, 3 effects, which means that we can have it influence the other guy in the room. So they can both take 7. Somebody's beatboxing. So 2 guys get whacked with the sound gun. 3, 4, 5,
Pretty
6,
good.
7. So yes, they both. One of them, the one in the door, recoils a bit as the sound gun racks racks his eardrums, and he stumbles a bit. But that's the most that happens. So who's next? It's gonna be the other crazy, who is going to make one move to move out of the room, and the guy with the weapon is Caval, so it's going to be a hand-to-hand, a daring and security versus daring and security. I know, I may have exaggerated a bit when I said it was 320s, but they were still three complications, so anyway. One success each. Okay, so that's a no-score draw, so the crazy fails to actually land a punch on Thazanan, who just restrains him for the moment in time. So, who wants to go next? Bertram, Vibers, Claude, or Nova?
Claude.
Claude could actually make it,
lead.
actually, in one go. It's in the same zone. Are we activating Claude?
Go on, Claude. Can you press?
Go on then, Claude.
Wow, I think the role's been set now. Yeah, it's sort of like he has hand-to-hand combat. Controlling security.
It's daring and security if it's a hand-to-hand. So yeah, contested. So I got 14 and 70, which is 0. So let's see what Claude gets. Daring and security.
Using focus.
Okay.
Claude.
Focus Claude aims in 2 successes. So you
this guy's dead. Just, the wall just hits him.
Paul for taking it, two complications and accidentally punch out Edwards.
Oh yes. Nova has been left unsupervised, but we'll get to that in just a moment.
So what am I rolling?
Damage. You're rolling unarmed, and you can add an extra 2 if you want, or put 1 back into momentum and add an extra 1.
1 into momentum, 1 into damage.
Okay.
Oh god, that was atrocious.
That wasn't all that good, no.
Momentum to reroll.
Spend the momentum to reroll it.
Okay, now you got 4. You might, yeah, he's down to 1, so if you use momentum to reroll 1 or more of those dice, 1, 2, 3,
How
if
much
you
is it?
reroll 4 of them, point of momentum to reroll 4 of the dice. There we are, that's better. That's enough to bring him down.
Claude, bop. The guy's still standing. He just sort of like bops him.
I very much
He
picture
folds
it
up like an accordion.
Sleep, sleep, tiny human.
I very much
Cast
picture
sleep.
it like Luke Cage from the live-action TV series.
Claude cast sleep. It was super effective.
Alright, so we've still got Bertram, Vibers, Nova to go. So, what are we doing? Who's going next? And if nobody volunteers, I'm going to go in order of initiative, which at this moment looks like it's going to be Dr. Bertram.
Okay. I guess I'll shoot the one through the door.
Alrighty.
Okay, so this is it?
Control and security difficulty 2, please.
Okay.
Nothing. I'm afraid that's a miss.
It's like I'm a medical officer. Damn it, I'm a doctor, not a sniper.
Nova or Vibers next?
Isn't that one of your traits as well? I'm a
Yeah,
doctor.
but
It's the opposite way
I can
round,
use-
isn't it? Yeah.
No, it is I'm a doctor, not a, but that allows me to boost to use medicine instead of command. Doesn't really work in this situation.
Nova
Doctor,
used a quick
this
action
is
to move
how-
into the room. Nova used another action to close the door behind herself. So now it's Vibers' turn.
Okay, Doctor, this is how you shoot things.
Indeed. 2 successes on the money.
Once again, 2 complications shoots headwards.
8 successes and 5
Why are we
effects.
shooting
That guy's
Edwards
out.
now, is it?
Because people keep rolling complications, apparently.
I've just got this thing of you have to shoot over Cabal's left shoulder. If you do that, it always goes well.
There's
If you
a
shoot
piece
from
of
the
lint
right
on my left shoulder. Just use the aim.
I've never used somebody's shoulder as a set of iron sights before, but it does work.
But it has to be the left shoulder. You're screwed if it's the right shoulder.
Yeah, the
any
lint's
case.
in the wrong place.
Nevertheless, that seems to be a pair of crazed scientists downed. Looks like they were hiding out in one of the medpod rooms. But Nova has, well, vanished-ish. And you are left with another semi-deserted, it seems, part of the outpost. Claude is now searching where he last left. Go on, sorry.
Doctor, would you be able to implant a tracker into Nova?
I'd need a tracker. I mean,
Oh.
potentially she stays still for 10 minutes.
You notice one already on Nova, right? It's a comm badge.
What room were these scientists in?
Hmm?
Some sort of lab?
Yeah, medical bay. Looks like a med pod.
Oh, Dr. Bertram, we found the med bay. They might have some records on it of what's happened.
This looks more like a smaller med pod room.
Ah, okay. Why do I keep flicking off?
I think it's because of the conversation happening.
Ah. Still, there's a medical scanner. Or at least I'm guessing the table looks like a scanner. Or is that? a chamber?
That is a. It looks like the equivalent of a fully contained bio bed.
If
So-
we could,
So that would it would be used basically to monitor lifestyle. It'd be able to take down information, wouldn't it? So it would tell
Yeah.
a log of potentially whoever used it.
if in
Sure.
the early parts of the infestation they managed to get infected people here, take samples and scan them, we might be able to use the information there to more accurately scan them both around us to give us warning and possibly feed it to the Navis to be able to accurately scan them.
So the bed would be useful.
Yeah, I think we should make sure the sick bay is currently secure before.
That's a good point. Start looking for vents and start unlistening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking out for that squelching noise.
Fair enough. So far, nothing. But I will remind folks that mostly, actually, Claude and Nova are the only ones over there. Don't get too much knowledge ahead of time. I will try my best, Liz, but yes, toodaloo, see you later. Don't get too much knowledge ahead of time. Honey, I can't help it. My head is full of stuff, it has to be. In any case. From my Sunday, she's first officer of the Combs. Nova opens a door into another supplies room by the looks of it, but what's most interesting is south of your current position.
Yeah.
Doctor, with a live one.
Claude doesn't have vision.
So Claude can see everything in it. So
I know. I can't see. I can't see Claude in the room.
There we are.
Hit the communicator. Everyone, I've seen one of those things. It's on a table near a body. Come to my present position.
Yeah.
This looks like the primary medical bay.
Phases out to get. Oh, of
Well,
course, Nova could just run ahead. Go
back.
Nova, who hasn't seen a door she doesn't want to open, opens a
Claude,
door.
I thought you were looking after Nova.
Claude is lost at the moment, I think he'll find.
Claude's just coming out of the room she was just in.
Nova gave Claude the slip! Again!
You had like 5 jobs, Claude.
Yeah,
You're doing very well.
You asked the man that doesn't run. He doesn't need to run. He will always catch her eventually. Remember, Nova, you need to sleep. Claude does not sleep.
Claude is the ultimate pursuit predator.
No, Claude just waits.
See, I think this is something we need to get for Nova. If we had one of those attached to dynamo, we could probably power this entire facility.
That's what the port of sonar is.
It's just Nova's hamster wheel.
Yeah, it's just a cat wheel for Nova. We don't talk about the port of Nacelle.
Speaking of, is Nova going to go first, or is somebody else going to go first? Since you essentially have opened the door to do new crazes, Nova is activating first. Okay. Same deal, you know how this goes?
I hope so.
And what do I get? I get 2 successes, you get 2 successes, so it's a bit of a grapple draw at the moment. Which means it's the other scientist's turn, so he jumps in and brandishing a scientific piece of equipment, I'm going to go with a weighted microscope. The word left me for a moment there.
That's a dexterous. That's those kinetic balls that go back and forth. Ooh.
3 successes to my 1 success, which means Nova wins the exchange by 2. So you can use them both for damage, or bank one of them and use one for damage.
I think we'll go full damage.
Full, okie dokie. So an extra 2 dice. So we get 7 and 2 effects. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And send him flying back into the desk, close to where he emerged from. Right, who of you is going next? I mean, Caval's closest?
Well, Nova needs you to be her hero again.
Or Claude,
I don't need another hero.
I just need to know the way home.
I'll use the sound gun. I'll aim and fire.
Okay, from his
It's
position.
then Caval realised the sound gun was set for Andorians.
Or he's not shooting himself with it.
Set
Not
it for
without
Betazoids.
studios.
Yeah, set it for Betazoids. It's the only way you're going to stop Nova.
Not necessarily a
2 successes
so
on
that-
the money, but no extra, so it's just going to be the one guy that you... Oh, no, actually, no. What am I saying? You've got to roll damage first, because then we see if we get any effects. We do, 1 effect, so it can get the other guy. 7 on both. So the one guy that Nova repelled is now unconscious, thanks to the sound gun. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... The other guy recoils from the sound blast, and therefore is softened up. Which means it's his turn now, and because he's crazy, he's going to engage in the same thing he did before. Dum, 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 dum. But the sound gun blast has disorientated him, so he's just swinging wildly. If we can get 2 from Nova, that'd be great. You only need the 1, which you got, so you can add 1 to damage.
Add 1 to damage.
Ooh. Reasonably small rolls, but you never know what the next one might be. Okay. So 3 with 2 effects. 3 is not enough to down him, but it is enough to propel him backwards into the boxes. Who of you guys is going next? Claude. If Claude moves
Never do your
in,
job.
Claude can move to the doorway and fire a phaser in. Potentially.
Thought will claim Nova.
Claude can't see very well there. There we are. This big stony silhouette emerges in the gate in the doorway, made even bigger by the fact he's got an EVA suit on.
Yeah, he's going to stand there.
Just gonna block the doorway
If you are
together.
going to stand there, then that's all you can do.
Alright, okay, I'll stand there.
Unless you buy an extra thing with Menace. This is a different zone.
It's a stand to stop Nova getting out of the room.
Aha!
He shuts the door.
And you will stay in there, young lady, until you learn your lesson. Right, so this is phaser. Or is it it's the 3? It's not that phaser, it's the other phaser. Pardon me, it's the phaser rifle.
Claude only bring big gun.
He can't hold the little ones.
Can't hold it, yeah, his hands are
It's
too
in
big.
cape. Good point. Good point.
Presuming stun. Or does
You put it
Claude
on
only have
stun,
one
right?
setting?
Yeah, it's on stun. Can I buy an extra momentum, everyone? Can I buy an action? Sorry, with momentum.
What
Go
actual?
for it.
Step in.
Go seal the door.
But that finishes that. They are down. They are defeated.
It's Nova's worst nightmare, not being able to get out of a single room.
Edward's
See how
not
long it-
taking. Oh, sorry.
See how long it takes.
So Edward's not taking his eyes off that thing on the table.
Okay.
That's harsh. They have feelings.
No, they don't.
They have feelers.
Not just that
Indeed.
they don't, that means we can shoot to
Wait
kill.
a minute. Is that blue light actually there? So is that some sort of
I'm
field?
wondering if that's UV light that they got shining on it.
So, the medical bay appears modest but functional. In the center is a tall specimen jar that contains what appears to be a gigantic flesh-colored cell.
Keeping an eye on vents and whatnot.
Yeah. If you guys could keep an eye on my back while I start looking to see if there's any data stored on this thing.
Yep, covering him.
There's no power.
Is the light actually there, or is that just a...
That seems to be a reserve power light keeping the specimen containment units hermetically sealed.
Right. Can I use
But-
my tricord to scan it, or-
Absolutely, absolutely. I was about to say.
Okay.
So this will be a. Let me see. So, reason and science, please. Difficulty 2.
Using science. Can I use
God damn it.
biology, genetics, anything like that as a focus? Or
Give me a moment, I gotta... Xenobiology would make more sense.
Okay.
And let me get my threat momentum pools back. Just spontaneously disappeared. And I haven't quite loaded back in yet. There we are. Right, so, feel free to roll. If you did, I missed it. There, 2 successes on the money. Okay. Well, I also hasten to note that there are dead bodies in the room also. But you are concentrating on the creature in the specimen containment. The creature appears to be mostly akin to a gigantic neural cell. And it's definitely dead. But you are reading that parts of it are still active.
So what you're telling me is we found a brain bug.
It seems to be getting nerve impulses, and therefore the nerve impulses are triggering responses. Almost like it's responding to stimuli from another source.
I'm wondering, given the stuff that Ori was saying that he remembered to them, I'm wondering if it's almost literally this is like each one of these is a cell of almost like a larger creature. So that would be like the closest thing I'm thinking is like some sort of physical and mental hive mind.
Like ants.
It would explain the things, the reports that I was saying about infected creatures, despite the pain, being almost compelled to work together when trying to achieve a source, like going from place to place. So possibly like that, or possibly like
jellyfish. Those kind of colonies of different organisms working together, but operate as one kind of thing. So,
I'm wondering if it might actually be tighter than that. These are literally cells of a single being. Like each one of these is equivalent to one cell or one neuron in a brain. Given that this is biologically, this shouldn't be. It doesn't work on any sort of known standard biology. This would have to have developed somewhere, some environment completely unknown to us.
Also state a fire hypothesis or potentially created.
Didn't we encounter squid-like life form? Claude will say over the comms.
When was that? Which one are you thinking of?
You're thinking of the
silicon-based life
episode
form?
Darkness, which was, last one. The creatures that communicated using electromagnetism.
True, could mean that, but they were basically connected individual creatures. My current hypothesis was literally seeing one creature. It's just able to act even though the parts of it be the equivalent of if you separated our hands, our feet, our legs, our heads, our organs, and despite being detached from each other, they were still working as one.
Sort of a bit like a fungal network, or am I still underthinking it?
Fleshy humanoids.
It's basically, this thing is dead, but it's still at the same time receiving impulses and stimuli from, I think, the others, despite the fact it's dead.
So it's like a distributed network.
Yeah.
Individual nodes that either work or don't work.
Yeah. But even though this thing can't be, it's dead, it can't be reacting to it, it can't be receiving it, but it still is. I said this is biologically both amazing and quite horrific.
Doctor, I think the question is, how do we kill it? All of it.
If it
That's a very
bleeds.
good question. If there was, I'm wondering if that's why UV light works on it. If it's not so much kind of like a biological allergy, but if UV light disrupts the whatever,
Pathways?
however these are connected, it'd be like basically cutting off the part not known to the nervous system off from each other and from the brain that controls it.
In theory, then, would the connection be able to actually show up under a particular light spectrum?
So say it again.
So I'm just theoretically wondering if light's able to interfere with this. If the particular part of the spectrum said the ultraviolet is able to affect it, does that mean that whatever link that's linking it together would actually show up under a similar spectrum?
I don't know if it would visually show up there, or if it's just. I mean, at the moment we're really kind of like guessing and theorizing.
If it bleeds, clot can kill it.
Yeah, I don't know if these do bleed. It's like one giant cell. Cells don't have blood.
All right, so what would you like to do now?
Can I, with the scans, can I possibly sort of like fine tune the tricorder to be able to have an easier time detecting these things?
You can certainly try, now that you've got a live sample. It'll still be limited by your tricorder's limited scope, but it could act as like an early warning system, potentially.
Yeah.
This will likely need some input from other characters, those more skilled in engineering. So it would be a combination of an engineering role and a medical role. So
yeah, I can provide the medical role.
So either Vibers or Edwards or Nova, yeah, or all the above.
So potentially jerry-rig something, and I have developed a knack for dealing with experimental testing.
Clot will allow Nova to play.
Okay, what are we rolling?
So, I believe Bertram is going to roll something along the lines of, let's say, reason and medicine, but the Edwards is going to roll reason and engineering. This is going to be difficulty 3.
Could I use my focus experimental technology?
You can.
Is Edwards leading, given that we're...
I was going to go with you leading, but either or, really.
Yeah, I can lead if you want. Xenobiology is a focus again?
Yes, that'll do nicely.
Okie dokie. Ooh, that one's set.
Okay.
Quick second.
Well, Edwards has yet
Legion
to...
of Honor.
You threw in the Legion of Honor, okay.
Yeah. So 2 successes, but no complication.
3 successes, so you got on what you needed. Cool. Alright then. So, using this live yet not live sample, you do now have a better idea for it. And you get to... When you flip open your tricorder and try and scan to see if you get something for it, you do actually get a ping, and it's very close by. But it's coming from the dead body on the table.
Fuff.
Okay.
Now, this guy has a terrible wound on his back, and he is lying face down on a medical table. There are 2 others that are dead bodies in the room, of course, but...
Does our scan raiders cover the 2 bodies, or are they
yes,
just not pinging?
and it's not. They're not. Those 2 aren't pinging. Only the guy with the wound on his back is currently pinging.
Edwards was like quietly signal to everyone else in visual ranges, like to that body. He doesn't know if these things here. He just want to find out if they can. He just as quietly as slowly as possible. His whole in the body.
Yeah. Our security guys have their weapons out.
Cavell will
Yeah.
switch to his Ushantor.
Okay.
Edwards will have his phaser trained on the body.
Okay. I'm going to go over and very, very carefully check it out. If something leaps up on me, please don't let it take me.
Don't let it take you alive. Got it.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, when you get near the body, the tricorder is reading only residual traces of the creature's DNA, which is why it pinged. The horrible wound on this guy's back, though, shows that the medical staff actually opened up his spine, and it looks like that the medical staff operated on this guy and more than likely surgically removed the creature from him. But it looks like he may have died during the procedure to remove the live specimen.
Okay, I want to examine the body to see if I can have a look at what it was that killed him. Was it the physical damage, or was it like the stress of removing it? So I want to, if I can get this information now, I may be able to come up with a way to do it that won't kill them.
Cool.
In
In
theory.
that case, I'm gonna let you have another reason medicine check, just because
Yep.
you've used a couple of momentum and you probably want to get some back into the pool. I'll make this difficulty 1.
Okie dokie. Reason medicine. Still xenobiology.
Yes, please.
2 successes.
2 successes, also some 1 above what you needed. You're
Can I add that to the momentum one in that case? Because I noticed we're 1 down from
Yes, I just did.
Thank you.
So, scans indicate that the patient died from shock. So, he just basically went into shock and died, neural shock, and died from the process of trying to remove the creature from his nervous system. There are a couple of small specimen jars with these horrible jellyfish-like stingers. You know, those kind of horrible, curled, almost helix-like transparent tentacles that jellyfish have. There are a couple of long bits of alien tissue that seem very similar. It looks like these were almost like, I don't know, like tendrils that were extracted as well as the main creature itself.
Joy. Given
But
that it's constantly stimulating the fin, it's going to be difficult to remove without causing a complete overwhelming of the nervous system, which is probably what led to this guy dying.
So physically removing them does seem to be a very difficult and deadly process, as far as the patient is concerned.
Keeps on
Doctor,
coming back to... Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Doctor. Maybe there's a way to make the host not viable for the parasite.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a way that's not lethal to the host, anyway.
Yeah. Possibly. It's... Yeah, there needs to be some way to stop the... Basically, for this to work, we need to find a way to either cut off the Vin's connection to the nervous system so it's not stimulating removal, or cause it to be, for a critical moment, stunned in a way where it's no longer stimulating it during that point of removal. If we can work out a way to actually interrupt that connection with the creature and the host's nervous system, we might be able to find a way to do it.
Well then. There are the other 2 bodies in the room as well, if you want to have a look, or not. They don't seem to have surgical marks, is the thing.
Okay.
I'll bring the doctor.
Did Enterprise crew not just use UV?
Yeah, at the moment we're kind of we may have to get power and see if the environmental thing can basically flood the thing with UV that's will
Or
blind
take-
and mess up the people, but will mess.
UV would be the least of our problems if we took the shield down.
Cough, gamma
examine the other dead
radiation,
bodies?
cough.
X-rays as well.
X-rays. That was X-rays, not gamma.
I mean,
Well,
technically,
we
we'll
get that
get gamma
too.
as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll check out the other two bodies.
All right. These two died of asphyxiation, it seems. But the thing that's interesting is that one of the bodies is actually lying on a data pad,
Okie dokie.
and it's still on.
Okay, just checking again with the tricorder that there's no sort of like the alien life signs around.
Yeah.
There don't
Keeping
appear
an
to be
eye on
any in
vents
the
and
immediate
whatnot.
In that
vicinity,
case-
no.
In that case, I shall carefully extract the data pad.
It appears to be a report that
Okay.
details a that a maintenance worker under the with the name of Mr. Miroki, who has the name allows you to tap it to get a bring up the record and data information of Mr. Miroki.
Yeah.
If you do, then his face, Mr. Miroki's ident picture matches the face of the patient who has the wound on his back over here. The report states that Mr. Miroki and others were outside the base, apparently performing maintenance on an intake that had become closed up with, quote, biological matter. Apparently, Mr. Miroki was injured during the work and somehow turned a laser drill on the other two, breaching their suits, which is how they asphyxiated. I can tell you is that if you want to try and do something like flooding
what was
the
intake
area
in
with
for? Was
UV
it
light,
for sort of like power, or was it for something else? Does it say?
pardon me, am I muted?
No, we can hear you now.
No? Okay, cool.
I can hear now.
What was that, sorry, Gareth?
Does it say what? Does it give any details on what the intake was for, or what systems it was connected to?
Atmospheric processing, mainly.
Right.
Either way, since you have made note of it, if you want to try and modify the environmental systems to maybe give out UV light, that will be environmental control is, if I can find it. Where am I?
In your house.
Angstrom Operation. Computer code transit. Environmental controls is on the day side of the facility. So you've got engineering and operations here on the night side, but you have environmental controls on the day side.
Will the environmental controls work that way if there's no power?
Well, that's what I'm trying to drive at, is that the engineering and therefore the power systems are here on the night side.
Right.
So
So
if you're still
basically
intent on that kind of plan, then it could be achieved that way.
What do you think of that vibe? Is we'd have to restore power here, but then we'd have to go to the day side and mess with environmental controls there. Do you actually remember? So, what was it? Do you know why the power was cut here? Was it damage or was it deliberate?
Don't know yet.
We've not found it.
There's no computers running. I've got no logs. If we can get some power, we can get the logs. And I'm actually wondering With
Well,
how
there was
far
a-
gone a lot of these are, I'm wondering if there is anyone to save.
There are the people we left behind. They're still alive. It may not be too late for them if we could find a way to cleanse the infection on them before their systems give out.
So one was a tool area, med bay, supply room, main med bay. What was in this top left one again?
That was basically a medical experimentation bay, but there is more. Back the way you came in order to get to the medical bay area, there is another way to get to different parts of the base. There's basically a stairway that goes up to operations.
Are we ready to move out, Commander?
Operations and engineering, I should say. It looks like in order to get to engineering, you have to go through operations. Or past operations.
Honestly, I don't think there's much I can do here without power. I think we've got all we're going to get here.
Right, let's make a move.
Okay.
Alright, Nova is still in her room, with Claude outside the door. Everyone else seems to be moving off. A suspicious face. The fact that a rock can do suspicious face.
Claude can do every emotion, thank you very much.
He just doesn't want to.
It's just incredibly subtle, each difference.
It's like Zoolander.
Andrews can spot the difference.
I'm sure
That's
she
because
could.
That's because she's a fangirl. Fangirl, even.
Okay, so everyone moving on to the next place.
Yep.
Let's cluster you all so I can get a copy. All right. Loading. So good news, bad news. The way to operations is pretty straightforward. And it carries on past operations towards engineering. But as you start closing on the corridor, as you're going down the corridor that closes on operations, you can hear muttering and banging just ahead of you. And so, sure enough, but it looks like you can get the drop on these guys.
Is I going to be right back?
With them all being hive-mindish to a sort, are they doing deliberate damage from what we've seen?
It's unclear, but it certainly looks as if those who are infected by the parasite basically went to war with those who weren't. And the place is certainly a mess enough that suggests at the very least conflict happened on a fairly large scale. And bearing in mind there's also this whole facility has a total complement of about 64 souls. So, you are now up on the second floor. You've got these guys all arranged in front of you. We're once again going to turn this... the ambience...
Like Nudge Caval.
Crazies. But, like I said, you've got the drop on these guys, so you guys get to act as if you had... You know, you keep the initiative, so all of you get to act first. So, whoever of your lot wants to go first can go first. And if you've got the sound gun, then maybe you can take them all out in, or at least damage them all in with one shot.
I think I'll try and soften them up.
That'd probably be the next thing for that. Maybe work out some way to safely amplify it. Like, how close to lethal can I push it?
You are using kind of like infrasonic waves, and you get too far into that, and you start.
Yeah,
causing-
I know. doing
You will
mass
kill some.
damage.
Yeah, you will kill someone very quickly.
So I suppose it's probably as close to it as I can.
Yeah, so there's this threshold with, you know, rendering someone unconscious, and then going that little step further is basically making their heads go bang. So, there we are. Alright, who's foist?
I think I'll go.
Cool beans.
I shall aim and fire.
So that was on the money what
enough.
we needed. So here we go. Good. Damage is not bad at all. Those have all got something on them. So 12 and 2 successes, so you get all 3 of them. Oh my god. You got all 3 of them in one go. Well, there we go. That was quick. You
Sorry,
did
guys,
actually
sorry.
render them all unconscious.
I didn't leave any for you guys.
Claude
Sorry,
never
Nova.
Claude never doubted.
Edwards just pats his gun and is like, that'll do.
Nice.
Commander, Lieutenant Junior Grade is mocking you.
No, that was not to him, that was to the gun.
Commander,
All right. This appears to be
Lieutenant
operations.
Gunfire itself.
No.
The man maketh the tools.
Alright, the operations is a large room and seems to have, through the viewing port, a commanding view of a crater next to which the base was actually built. The room itself is a bit of a nightmare. There are 2 dead bodies in here and a lot of damage from what was probably phaser fire. Very little seems to be operational, but the consoles appear to have emergency power. One of the operations officers appears to be sprawled over a console in a pool of dried blood. Another is severely burned near the window. Which would be this one, it would be hot. The window itself looks like it's not entirely stable, as it could have taken numerous phaser hits or hits from other things. So, what would you like to do?
First, start scanning.
for creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Both thinking the same way there of, okay, where are the buggers?
Both paranoid.
At the moment, you are
Inside
getting
everywhere.
no indication that there are any of the neural parasites nearby.
Vipers has gone to the console to try and download the log.
Okay.
I'm not going
Uh,
to bother trying to read it now, but
The terminal
copy.
reports that main computer is offline, but they still are reporting the status of the base's main reactor. Unfortunately, it has a lot of flashing red next to it.
Someone forgot to replace bulb.
From what Vipers
How-
can tell, sorry, go on.
yeah, so how bad is the reactor?
It looks like it's not far from going critical. If you
Doctor,
want to
take your
learn any more, you're going to need to try and interpolate the data that's coming through the terminal.
I almost said if we leave this place, it sorts itself out, but we're still good chances
It will do.
survivors somewhere.
It will sort itself out because the radiation will kill all the creatures.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the ethical situation is there still could be unaffected survivors.
Can I get a deck plan out of this terminal?
Well, let's see what you can learn from the terminal. Can I get an insight and engineering task, please? But it's going to be difficulty 3. If you want to employ any help, you can, of course, but...
Well, this is very similar to something that... I forgot my past names, because I've only got 3 of them. I can't just make them up until I hit 7. Okay. This is very similar to something that Newborn encountered way back when, with a mission off to some Iconian site. It'll be fine. Right. But I'm gonna kick in 3 lifetimes of adventure on this and throw a determination at it.
Okay.
Oh, so that's not how that one works. This does it as a...
So 3 lifetimes of adventure is a value which, gives you a determination to spend.
Yes, but 3 lifetimes of adventure goes with joined, and it's joined. That means I can gain a random focus.
Once per mission, you may declare that a focus of expertise, so you get a focus. Yes.
So I've done this before.
Reading reactors. Yes, you have actually.
It's like Trill cheat code.
Level 2.
Vibers just stands off to one corner and goes up, down, left, right, A, B, start. A, B, start.
But what none of you realise is every lifetime you go around in circles. That's how the universe works. It's not my fault you only have one.
Plot is infinite.
Okay, from what you can tell, the main power failed after the primary research holding tank failed, which caused an environmental breach in engineering. The protocols shut down the reactor and put the base on backup batteries. This occurred 3 days ago.
Which is about the time that comms was lost, from memory, isn't it?
With that extra success that you got, the research tank ruptured, apparently due to it being overpressurized, listing the supply source as stellar inversion drive. Meanwhile, Edward's looking at that console. You can find operations logs.
Seeing what can be downloaded.
Cool.
And
All the entries are dated 7 days ago from Operations Commander Elora Welgin. So you've got 7 days worth of logs, duty logs.
Now, my initial thing would be chain of command, send this to our ops specialist, but would she find it too boring and not bother looking at it?
That's entirely up to Nova. Or Sean, I should say.
I've got basically comms to Nova. So we have 7 days worth of operations logs. Would you like to go through it? As I said, you are our ops specialist. You might pick out more than I can, as I am just a wrench monkey currently.
Do we have a Sean?
If not,
You're on mute.
Sean is on mute, so he might be away from the keyboard. Okay.
I'll just send them out.
Okay.
Send them out to everyone. So basically, group look, and I'll just start skimming through these. The most recent ones.
Okay. Let's see what you get. Right. Everything is pretty routine until about 10 days ago. A log mentions that maintenance is needed on the exhaust manifolds due to some sort of biological contamination from the surface, which was logged as odd because the planetoid is supposed to be lifeless. A log from several hours later reports that Mr. Moroki, who was assigned to the task, was involved in some sort of accident, which claimed the lives of 2 other operations staff, and that he was taken to medical for emergency treatments for some sort of parasite. The log then notes that another crew is being assigned to complete the original maintenance work. The final log is panicked, stating things like, "It's those damn scientists' fault. They've cut off comms. They are coming." And that's all that happened. That's all that contains.
Definitely don't trust scientists. Or engineers.
Hey.
So, also of note is that unusually there are side rooms to operations, and they are logged as the senior officers' quarters.
Right.
The door to one of which is currently ajar, as it's next to Viber's. It's therefore in his eye line to see.
Edwards, do you want to see if you can get some power to the agricultural, to the plant,
At the moment,
lab here to
you don't have access to any power distribution because the reactor's been pulled offline because it's going critical. At the moment, you've got emergency battery power, which is all that's powering these consoles. All right, you are going into that open room, Commander Welgin's quarters. This...
As we're scanning for the creatures before going in.
I'll tell you. No sign of a struggle, but from the state of the door, it looks like somebody did force their way into this room and attempted to get into the locker, which is tagged as security locker. But they failed to do so. So everything else in this room appears to be more or less where it should be. Somebody tried jimmying the locker on the security locker, but the lock on the security locker, but didn't manage to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Claw can open if you wish.
Go ahead then, Lieutenant.
Commander.
Okay, so going up to the security locker and wrenching it open. Or actually, can I just get reason and security, difficulty 2, please? To try and enter the correct...
Oh, reason and security. Oh,
reason security, I'm afraid, yes.
Just keep pulling on it until it opens.
Well, it's made
Brute
to resist
strength.
those kind of things, so...
Oh, this is claw.
you just need to input
Don't have big
your security pass, so... Just
Claw
to figure
wants to
out
pull
which
open.
security pass. Okay, fine. Inside
Hand to
are...
hand again.
Inside
Well,
are
well,
3
that's
Type
just-
2 phasers and a single Type 3 phaser rifle.
At least we're finding some of the weapons.
That's odd. We're finding the weapons. That tells me that these guys did not arm themselves to try and hold off or defend themselves.
Claw degree. Or attempted to, but were unable. Perhaps already infected. Tried to end life.
Could be. Anything in the
Oh,
chief
wait.
scientist quarters?
Okay, so you're in that one. So, Chief Researcher Vital. Okay. Now, considering this is a Vulcan's quarters, the inside is incredibly chaotic. Furniture, research dossiers, and sculpture are all tossed about. In the center of the bed, stained by sweat, is a research tunic, the back of which has been torn off and stained with Vulcan blood.
Oh, fun. Doc, think I need your opinion on the mess in here. I'll leave it to you.
Okay. Still scanning for life
Yep.
forms come in here in case.
Control and medicine, please. Difficulty 1.
Will 4 do?
Oh, yes. Okay.
No.
So, yeah, the blood is definitely Vulcan, and there is the presence of the strange foreign cells found from the neural parasite.
Interesting, not found Vulcan yet in bodies.
About how long ago, like how old is this blood? Can I tell?
Around about the 10-day mark, you think. It's difficult to tell for certain.
Alright, that was basically, I think it might have been right about the time the infestation started.
There is an active console next to the bed that seems to be on.
Okie dokie. Been at my tricorder to scan, not I'm paranoid. I'll go up to the console.
Okay, it looks like there are logs that you can access, but the moment you try, it asks for an encryption password. I mean, you can try and get past it with insight and engineering at difficulty 2.
I've got decent amounts, but there might be someone who's better at computers might want to take this.
Like a certain Trill.
Vibers is like, dang it, I just got out of that spooky room.
Commander, I think you better actually take a look at this.
And do. Carry on, Mr. Edwards. See what you find.
Will
Scream
do.
if it deserves it.
I think
Scream! Remember to
using-
scream if you can.
So use that skills you picked up from Rainer, I see.
Are you
What-
insulting superior officer, lieutenant?
No, I'm currently using skills I picked up from the captain. Leadership.
Aha!
Anyway,
Nice. Right, so
Yeah.
In
from
court report, insubordination of junior officer. Captain
insight and
reads
engineering
court
from
report.
Vibers, please.
Sorry, what an engineering was that?
Insight.
Cool. Focus?
Computers, if you've got it. I think you do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice, 3 successes. So definitely managed that. Okay, so the encryption is pretty easy to get through. It's fairly standard. You've seen them before, so you know how to bypass it. The logs are orderly and regimented, like you expect from a Vulcan, made once per day at almost exactly the same time every morning. But that all changed about 10 days ago. There is a log from the evening on that day mentioning only, due to the accident, work on the drive has been halted for the day. I have requested a specimen so that I might try to catalogue this creature that seems so suited to this environment. Logs from the following day are erratic, talking first about the samples and the incident, while mentioning great pain and an attempt to maintain logic and focus. All of this appears to be interspersed with Vulcan language, which appear to be very, as you might expect, regimented, but they suggest like mantras or chants. A log from 2 days later states only, they know and they must be made one with us. The final log is from only 4 days ago and states, the pain is clarity, the clarity is purpose. I know what I must do.
Spooky.
Right. Okay. Doctor,
Yep.
does this sound like like someone going delusional and crazy to you?
It does sound like someone thought that they could actually control the pain, but it's worn down on them, especially if they've been affected by this for 10 days. I know Vulcans are renowned for their mental discipline, but it's not infallible. Eventually, that amount of constant pain is going to wear down and get to them.
So, with all this knowledge, what would you like to do now?
So we've got some other rooms we can check. Caval, if you're ready. Okay, I was just gonna phaser in one hand, tricord in the other, scanning for life forms.
No
I'd
life
like
to-
forms detected currently.
Give the nod to Caval.
This appears to be a room that was reserved for potential visiting senior officers, but has not been used.
All clear. Nothing in this one. Warp just goes punch.
What have you found?
Not say open.
Okay, this room. These quarters are a mess, as if a fight took place here. But the one thing that does also draw your eye is that the desk closest to the door contains a computer with an active window still open on it, and it's flashing the words "communications sent" as the last task that was left on it to do.
Well, attempt to try and bring up the log then, the message that was sent.
Easily
Assuming
enough
it's the
done,
distress call.
and it's the distress call that you guys have been answering. So,
Who sent that, Commander?
Assume it's an occupier of room.
researcher Amelia Adams.
How long? It was sent 3 days ago, wasn't it?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, which meant that there were 7 days where things were happening across the base before they sent the distress call. Jesus.
Federation science teams.
Yeah, we're in control.
Nothing like
we're
'em.
in control. Everything is fine. Everything is good for just for a week.
Say like people are
Everything is
mutating into
fine.
monsters and whatnot. It's like it's all good. It's all good.
It's
We're not
been a
admitting that
week.
we need the military. We're not admitting we need the military.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
dear.
fine if it's fine unless it's over a week. At which point you're like, yeah, we need help.
That sounds like my old approach for going to a GP.
And I've told you
Okay.
before, you just need to tell your stomach who is in charge.
That's not.
Yeah,
how
I suppose the only thing
it
left is to check the other consoles then. See if there's anything else we can get from them. Presuming each one's a different station, just like the other two.
Mostly research stations, but the one that Edwards is currently close to is one that has sustained some phaser fire. Therefore is not quite. The body next to Edwards is the one that looks like it's been burned by, taking phaser fire.
And so, looking at them, does it look like they were deliberately aiming for the console, or it was more the console that's happened to get hit?
More like the latter.
Okay.
The shots are spread out pretty wildly.
People have poor aim. Claude disappointed.
So move on to the next section, I suppose.
Okay. There is
And
the other
does he
body,
command it?
but they're not doing anything, so...
I think, Commander, do you think there's anything else we can glean from here?
Right. Heads up to everybody else here. The reactor for this base is very close to going critical. I think we've got probably worth checking slightly further down the corridor, and then we probably need to exit quite sharpish.
Shouldn't attempt to secure reactor, Commander.
That's why we're going to try.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna leg it.
Alrighty.
Okay. The route down to there is back out the door and further down
And
the
further down the
corridors.
corridor, yes. So, you're all good. In fact, I will save you the bother of having to shuffle your tokens.
Oh.
And we'll move you to engineering. Okay. Operations.
Do we have a Nova again?
Engineering. What was that, sorry?
Do we have a Nova again?
Apparently we don't.
Okay.
Unless we do. Sean? Nope, apparently we don't.
Okay. Right.
Okay, engineering.
Now, what I can't remember is what tool we need to identify if that poison gas will dissolve an EVA suit.
Ah, yes, you can see through the
Tricorder
walls.
or map?
How can you see through the...
is
Oh, it's
that
a
a
window.
wall?
You're looking through the window. Ha-ha! Yes, so you're looking into the reactor room, and it is pretty heavily obscured by what looks like some kind of vapor emission that's escaped.
Right.
Could use Ori method. Stick hand in, see if hurt.
I don't think that's a good method when we're in EVA suits.
So,
Take EVA suit off like Ori did.
seems the only clear way in, rather than trying to smash the hardened crystal glass, is to get through the one main door. But that is an emergency bulkhead that is currently sealed due to probably the emergency venting of that gas.
I'm guessing glass too thick to allow scanners through to identify what the gas is.
Was there any terminals anywhere?
Unfortunately,
Nothing on
everything
the
you
walls.
need is inside of engineering, and as far as what the gas is, it appears to be stellar gas collected from the star in this system. So,
So it's not corrosive, just radioactive.
Okay, how close to the outside hull are we?
you are on the second floor, or the first floor. I forget which. Actually, probably by this point you're on the first floor rather than the ground floor, and you're not that close to the outside. You'd have to go back to operations to be closer to the outside.
Okay, that backup plan's a bad idea then.
That suggests
Good to know.
deliberate venting.
No, they reported that there was an overpressure incident and a container
Oh
vessel
yeah.
exploded. What I'm wondering is, can we deliberately vent?
So, as far as you can see, your problem is that the main tankers ruptured, and therefore that flooded the area with stellar gases. And you would hope by this point safety procedures would have kicked in. So Vibers, knowing engineering as he did, would imagine that the whole bulkhead sealing and everything like that is all safety stuff that would have triggered right away when the rupture happened. Obviously the difficulty here is that if the door is opened and the gas begins to escape, and if that happens, then, well, there's the chance that another lockdown might happen elsewhere. Lockdowns might happen elsewhere in order to try and contain the the gas, so bulkheads between you and your way out might start closing. But you're wearing EV suits, so you have a limited time. Even your EVA suits would eventually start to give out to the toxic gases as they get worn down. So you have a number of things that you might be able to do, but it's going to be very time critical to do it.
Only have 5
Okay.
minutes.
You would probably have to do
Right.
something. Job 1 would more than likely be sealing the ruptured tank. Then you're going to have to see back to bringing the reactor back online. All the rest of it. Plenty of things to do.
Can I get any scans of the gas to see what effect it would have on like biological systems, to see if I can prepare some medical shots to increase the amount of safe, sort of like time they can resist it?
You can certainly try,
Claw
but
torpedo
these are
rock.
stellar gases, so
Right.
they're going to be pretty heavy stuff. Oh, who did we lose? Sean. Maybe he's having trouble with his sound. Hopefully he'll be able to join us next time. But yes, as a preparation, you could try and create something that would help against it. But of course, the first thing that's going to be getting the brunt of all of this are your EVA suits.
Yeah.
So either way, but
Okay. Right.
Is it obvious to see where the breach is?
at current point in time, it's not, because there's so much smoke in there that you're having a hard time seeing everything. But engineers like Vibers and Edwards would have a good idea of where to start.
Right. So this is going to be very time critical. Nova and Edwards, your job is to get to systems and get that reinvented as quick as possible.
Which means having to seal the tank, the rupture, and then get things moving again. Like adjusting the environmental flow.
If they can vent the room, we don't care about if this base survives the day. We just care about have we got everybody out of here and can we save who we can. This base is doomed. So
Okay.
if
Not
we can vent,
necessarily.
there's a star expanding, there's people who can come back and restore the base with more time on their hands.
Either way, we have a very difficult situation ahead of us here,
Yes.
and one that at least has a very immediate problem to be solved, which is the engineering section. The reactor needs to be brought back to safe levels if it can be. And that, I'm afraid, is the point where we're going to leave it for tonight. Because we don't have enough time to resolve this all tonight, so it's going to have to be next time.
We got 3 minutes.
We have a cunning
Two
plan.
now.
Roll credits.
Previously on Star Trek Navis, we have a cunning plan. What was the plan again?
Well, I was going to call up Blackford and say we need a science crew.
Oh yeah. Totally need Blackford on
Oh,
there.
that's a point. That's why we need to save everybody's life on this system
Oh.
to rub it in Blackfoot's face.
Nice. Well, either way, I think that means we're going to have to continue this next week. So I take it that folks are all up and around, ready to do next week?
Should be.
Should be, yeah.
We should hopefully have a mic back by then, and hopefully Sean shouldn't be having the technical issues that he appears to be having now, because he's not only signed off of Discord, also signed off of Forge, so somewhat was going on there, and we hope that, yeah, it's a 3-parter now. Whoop, hey! Oof.
It's been a long
That's a
time
good
since we've had a 3-parter.
Yeah. And there's still plenty to do, so who knows? Thanks for tuning in, Suitable Substrate, and thanks for everyone else who tuned in. This has been quite an interesting one so far, and we're still running out of time for the crew to save the base, so we'll see what else happens. But for now, I'm afraid that is all we have time for, so I'm going to thank my players, as per usual, for being so great, and diving right into this one. and holding back the the Star Trek meta knowledge. But even then, the original series didn't delve too far into these creatures, so it still gives us plenty of wiggle room to discover more stuff by ourselves. But, as has been stated, that will have to wait till next week. And so, for those who are watching this on YouTube, if you did enjoy this, part 2 of a continuing episode, then please consider leaving a like. Just not just for us, but also for other folks doing Star Trek and Star Trek plays, actual plays. And of course, there's coming back next week to find out what happens, and we'll see if we can conclude this particular episode. Until then, I will ask that you all do like the Vulcans do and live long and prosper, but not in this case get infected and go mad from a pain-amplifying parasite. But do make sure that you do engage in infinite diversity in infinite combinations, that you all look after each other and treat each other with care and respect. And until then, we will see you when we see you next. And in that regard, we now close hailing frequencies, as we say. Toodaloo's all.